life is simple. We complicate it by setting too many expectations, and we just need to let things go. We don't need to take everything personally, and we need to live our life.
Welcome to The Path to Wealth, the show about well-being, fulfillment, and financial freedom. And I'm your host, Hannes Henchi. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to The Path to Wealth. Today we have Vish Muni from PGL, Pretty Good Life Properties. That's a great name in the first place. So he will tell us more about his personal journey, not only in the multifamily real estate space, but also simply about his attitude and mindset, because right now he's working on running a half marathon every single month. He's already into six more to go. Welcome to the show, Vish. And yeah, we're glad to have you.
Well, thank you, Hans, for having me on your podcast. And to answer your question, my personal journey about what I'm doing is basically I start with telling people there are five most important things what every one of us, no matter what journey we have taken, they need to have that in life for anything. I can talk about those five. Number one is that every morning when someone gets up, they need to have a purpose. Because if they don't have a purpose, people just go back to sleep and say, well, the day is boring. I don't feel like getting up. They're not excited about life. That everyone needs to have a purpose because my purpose is different and your purpose is different. So you need to have a burning purpose in life. That is number one. Number two, everyone needs to have an extremely strong relationship with no matter what they're doing. Because you need to have a relationship with your spouse, with your parents, with your brother, with your sister, your neighbors, with me. Because if you don't get along with people, it's a stressful life. Imagine you get up and you want to have coffee, and your sister says, Hans, you've been a pain. I'm not making you coffee. Do you think you are going to have a great day? So you need to work around things. You need to have a good relationships. So number one is purpose. Number two is relationships. And you and me both are in real estate. People say, how can you buy properties in this hot market? But no, we are still buying properties which are not in the market. How are we getting those properties? It's all through relationships, right? So you need, no matter what you do, you need to have relationships. Number three, you need to have money. If you could probably have buy a Ferrari, but if you don't have money, you can't fill gas in that. So people say, I don't need money. I don't need money. I don't need any money. I already have. No, you need money to even to sustain your lifestyle, to move forward. Everything you need money. So money is extremely important. And number four, you need to have time. So you could have purpose, you could have the fantastic relationship, you could have money, but imagine if you don't have time. If you're working 24 by 7, and do you think you have time to attend your daughter's graduation, to attend your daughter's basketball game, to take your son for a soccer game? But these are the special events in life. They don't wait for anybody, or you want to miss them. So you need to have time, extremely important. Number five, another most important thing is the location. Can you go spend time with your parents? Can you go spend time with people who matter most to you? So you need to have money for that. If you have money, if you have purpose, and if you have a good relationship and you have time, then you could go spend 1 month or 2 months with things that matter to you the most. So that's why I tell people, no matter what you do, these five things are extremely important in life. And why did I choose real estate for all these things? Because my lifestyle is I want to spend quality time with the people who matter in my life. I want to spend time on things which matter to me, that is traveling, that is working with nonprofits. So I need money so that way I can be in any location for this. I need money so that way I can spend quality time. I don't need to miss out on special events with the family, with friends, or with my neighbors, or with my in-laws. So that is why I choose real estate. So that way my time, I can get back my time. And and what is the big difference I'm making in real estate? I provide quality housing to people, so that way they continue to stay where they are. They're not under stressful. I don't want some tenants screaming at me just to pay rent. They should be happy to pay rent. So that is the type of tenants you need. So we need to add value at the end of the day. So that is why no matter how much money you have, if you don't have a purpose in life, if you don't have good relationship, if you don't have time, you're not going to be happy. So money alone will not bring you happiness. So like fingers, they're all uneven sizes, but you bring them all together, they're all the same. So you need to have balance. Everything has to be in balance. If you're working more, you don't have time to spend with your parents. You don't have time to spend with anybody. You don't can't even take care of your health. So that is why you need to have everything in moderation. You need to balance it. Only you and me can balance it. Nobody is going to balance it for us. So that is my purpose in life. That is what I am, and that is why I choose real estate.
So, kind of unpackaging this for the audience. For someone who is not as far advanced in their personal journey as you are, how would they unlock their purpose? Because this is something that I guess especially younger folks kind of struggle and wrap their head around it is how do they actually find their purpose? How was your personal journey on exploring what means a lot to you or what purpose means to you in your life?
Well, well, they need to figure out what money can't buy and what is it you have in excess. We all have something more which we can give, and most of the people, most of us, at some point or the other, we have taken more food than what we can eat on our plates. So we don't need to take so much,
Yeah.
right? So either by mistake or consciously or unconsciously, we have done it, but we should stop doing that. So they need to figure out what is it they have in abundance to give. Everybody has something or the other to give. They can't say I don't have anything to give. Everybody has something. So you need to find that purpose. Everybody needs help. No matter what you are, everyone needs help. Everybody falls sick sooner or later, and accidents happen. So be prepared. So this is something which people need to have identify their own purpose. There are so many non-profit organizations. All they need is your time. They don't need your money. They don't need your car. They don't need any physical things. They just need your time. No matter what you are, you can just add value to that. I know doctors who are extremely busy, but they just go there for 1 hour and see patients. That is the value they're giving. I mean, these are the things money can't buy, but the satisfaction what you get, it's tremendous.
So it's more about the untangible things. Like, for
Right. Yeah.
example, the doctor that gives 1 hour of his day to patients that actually couldn't afford his services. It's kind of yes, he is giving something, but there's also this untangible transaction where he feels very good about putting that hour to work in the community.
Yes, yeah, exactly. And then we at Lions Club we have something called a free vision screening. And what we do is there are a lot of people who are walking around they're not knowing their vision is really bad because either they can't afford it or they're not aware of it. So
Yeah.
at this camps we do a free vision screening. It's like a binoculars. All they need is it's like a VR equipment, and you just look in your eyes. It scans, and just within 15 seconds you get a report. And all we do is tell them to based on his recommendations they can take it to any doctor and get their eyes fixed. So these are the things that doesn't cost much, but it makes a world of a difference for the other person.
Yeah. Especially when it comes to vision or hearing, like those are so fundamental for the
Right.
quality of every single day.
Right. Yeah. So, and I tell people, listen, there is so much of stuff we all of us have at home, which if you're not used anything for more than 6 months, which means that is the first step they need to take it out of the house. And including me, there's so much stuff which we have in our house. I
Yeah.
don't even know these things existed. For it's just been sitting in my garage for 2 years. And I think sooner or later they need to go because the real estate is expensive. You pay more taxes. You really don't need all that. So the key is somebody else is looking to buy that. They can't afford to buy. Give it to them.
Yeah.
So donate. Give back. Give back. I think what you give back is what you're going to make a big difference. So that's what I feel. That is a way to unpack and give back, and everyone can identify.
So, how would you nurture that in your children? Like, if you were to kind of give them some guidance, how would you go about that?
So I tell my daughter, it is not always about money. It is about your presence and what you can contribute to the community in which you live. So my daughter she volunteers every now and then, and she's pretty active in school. And also off late, I think since I run marathons, she's volunteered, or she asked me if I can volunteer at any of this running events, because these events, they need a lot of people to put those events together, and they need volunteers like you and me. So that way, because she's learning by example, she sees what I do, she sees why I do, and she also knows how I do, and I tell her why I do, and where else I can sit at home instead of going out, but I do it. Because last Saturday, the Memorial Day, the weekend of Memorial Day, there is an event called Rucks on Rack, Rucks on the Main, which basically people walk in a backpack, and they can load the food cans in it, whatever food they can put it, and they need to walk for minimum 3 miles or more. I volunteered at that event. So what did we do from Lions Club? We helped them unpack. We weigh how much food, and we donate it to the nearest homeless shelter or the food bank.
Hmm.
I mean, these are the things my daughter sees I'm doing it, not just sitting at home or sleeping or watching TV. And I tell her this: a lot of people need our help more than we need. So I had to go there and help people do that. I mean, not just me. We as a Lions Club, we did that. So that the children learn by what you do. You can't just tell them to do and you don't do it. You need to lead by example.
Yeah, I think that's very much true. Also, my dad, he never really told me what to do, but he always showed me what to do. And without
Right.
many
Yeah.
words,
You learn
I
more
think
by doing.
he was able to transfer a lot of his guidance on that. Looking at the other branches of what you talked about, relationships, for example. And you mentioned also that relationships are very crucial to the real estate game overall. And I guess I like to look at it as a game. Yes, it's a business, but at the end of the day, I think life is a little bit of a dance, and it's about playing it and not just winning it. But when it comes to relationships, how do you nurture those in your life? Like, for example, when you speak about real estate, how do you nurture the relationships, for example, with the brokers or the vendors? How do you go about those things?
Well, to be honest, Haynes, I don't talk business at all. 90%. If I'm spending 30 minutes with a broker, 25 minutes I'm talking about relationships. I'm talking about his family. I'm talking about what is his hobbies. I'm talking about what did he do previously and what is his objectives. And and most of the time, it so happened we spend so much time talking, I forget why I met him in the first place, and then I need to remind myself, oh yeah, yes, yes, yes,
I'm here to
because
buy that property.
because yeah. So that's what happens. Like so that is how I build relationships. I connect with people at a different level, not just business. Because if I'm talking all business and if I'm not humanly connected, even we don't like talking to someone who just shows up and in 2 minutes they just talk business and walk away because we're not excited. So I basically connect with people at a different level. Like if I'm meeting a broker, there are a couple of things you can use this acronym called FORD, FORD. Okay, F is for family. Everybody has a family. Okay, they talk about his family. If I ask him, does he have any siblings? Where is he in terms of the order? What does the siblings do? What did he do growing up? And why did he move to wherever he is right now? He or she. And O is for occupation. And people can talk about their occupation. What did they do previously and what are they doing now and why they're doing and how exciting it is. Okay, occupation. And R, apart from occupation, everybody has a recreation. Everybody does something outside of occupation. If I don't know anybody who, there's very few people whom I know, but I don't want to talk about them who don't have anything other than occupation, and that is a stressful life for me. And then everybody has a dream. So these are the four things I talk about with when I meet people, in no specific order, but everybody wants to talk about family, everybody wants to talk about occupation, recreation, and dreams. And once you unpack all these four, you know a lot about the other person, right? So that is how I connect with people. And then I tell them, well, listen, I came here to ask for certain property details, but I completely got lost in all the other things talking about this. And then this guy, he or she would say, well, don't worry about that, and I got everything taken care. About business, I just speak for 5 or 10 minutes. That's it. The rest of the time, FORD. That's it. Focus on that.
Nice, nice. Talking about the family aspect of things. So you're originally from Bangalore in India. Maybe you can give us a little bit of an idea of what your journey was like. You studied in Bangalore, eventually you moved to the United States, which is quite a journey because overall, less than 5% of the global population actually lives in a country other than where they're born. So, it's being in the US, many of us are immigrants, including you and me, but overall, it's not that common. So, what was that journey for you like?
Well, the journey was pretty exciting, to be honest. First 6 months of coming to US, I was depressed, to be honest. And that was if anyone wants to lose weight, the fastest way would be to leave home and go somewhere else.
Because the food,
And
the food
you be
wasn't the same
depressed.
anymore.
I mean, you miss
It's
everything because I love to socialize. I like to be among people. And when I come to a country where I've never been in the past, I mean, no doubt everything was good, but you're used to a different lifestyle. You're used to a lot of
yeah.
noise, a lot of people around, and a lot of friends, and of course all the nice spices around and eating habits. And it took me 6 months to get over that bump, a hurdle, and that
To
was the
get
first
used to
time.
the spiceless food.
Yeah. Get used to the new lifestyle. So it took me a while, and then I had to decide at the end of 6 months, basically, was this all worth it for me to come all the way this far across to the other side of the world? And is this what life is about? Do I really need to stay here, or do I need to go back? But then again, there's one thing, if I look back now, I think everybody should leave their comfort zone. And that is where growth happens, and that is where you identify what your strengths are, and that is when you grow. I mean, the challenges are there. You need to face them, you need to overcome them. You end up being a stronger person mentally, physically, emotionally, and you learn a lot more about yourself. So that is what happened. So my journey was, I was the first one in my family to leave Bangalore, and leave alone leave Bangalore, leave India. And I came to San Francisco, California in year 2000, and I was there for 7 years. And then I met my wife, who's from Texas, and we got married and we came to Texas. And yeah, it's been a quite an interesting journey. I could basically I was in technology, and then my wife is in medical profession. She's a doctor, and we both like traveling, we both like gardening, we both like dogs, and we both love real estate, and we both like fitness, and we both have different type of fitness levels, but we both like to stay fit. So given that we both spent a lot of time on the weekends traveling, and you must, I mean, a lot of people, a lot of listeners may not have heard about Barnes and Noble or Borders. I mean, they're bookshops, and that is where we used to spend a lot of time on the weekends and reading, and then looking at real estate and traveling. This is the three things what we did, since we both liked real estate. And that is where an idea was born. I mean, the name of the company we decided was the Duplexaholics. So people ask, what is Duplexaholics? So we both used to see so much real estate over the weekend, and while we were in California. and we identified this property which had two single family homes side by side. And then I asked my wife, what do they call this property? So duplex. So then we decided, well, I think that's not a bad idea. Why don't we start a company, Duplexaholics, with the objective of buying one property a year for 10 years? And we still have that company after 15 years. And that company is doing well, but after 10 years being in that company, I decided I need to step up and move into multifamily real estate investing full time. Now, this is what I do. And that is, in short, my journey. But I like what I'm doing now because it touches upon purpose, touches upon relationships, money, freedom, and time. It wraps up everything together.
Yeah, I think that's a common thread that we find in the multifamily real estate space, that also because of the scale we operate at, there's more freedom of time, but we're not giving up on the income. I think that leads to something very important, that the people that have that freedom and know or identify their purpose in the journey are more likely to serve their community and give back. Because I feel like once you've taken care of yourself, your inner circle, and you've kind of uncovered your own life's journey or purpose, it becomes just natural to turn towards the community and really want to share the bounty.
Right. I mean, it's a you only need so much. You can only fill so much gas in your car. I mean, you if your tank might be I mean tuned to hold 15 gallons or 16 gallons. So what would you do anything beyond that? So the same goes with money. You only need so much, and beyond that, if you don't put it back, give it back to the community or give it back to the people who need it, it's not going to add any value to you. So that is how. That is, I mean, you're not going to make much of a difference.
Just like you said about the food in the beginning, people that tend to have more food on their plate than they should eat. It's in a similar fashion. We tend to maybe think we need a lot more money or make a lot more money, and I think at this stage for you and me, more money just means more impact. It means we can give more, but that is not
Yes. Yeah.
maybe the natural progression for everyone. I think there's still people who hoard it for themselves, and maybe in a later stage of their life that kind of uncovers or unfolds, and they see that actually the big joy is in giving it away more than in hoarding it.
Right. I mean, you enjoy what you eat. You enjoy what you have, and if that is going to be you're going to be getting that forever, even if you don't do anything, then why worry about it? Because there is more joy in giving, and there's more joy in seeing somebody getting more value out of it. And I would continue to do that. I mean, once I get that magic number of attaining that financial freedom number, and anything beyond that, I want to give back to the society, hold back a few percentage, and and that's what you do. I mean, if you meet your financial lifestyle, you have enough money coming in, then you need to make sure that goes back to the right people.
So, kind of taking it back to the homeland for you, what do you think is holding India back? Because I spent over a year in India and I have close family ties to India, but I feel like India is a lion that's just about to roar. At the same time, there is so much more that needs to be done. What is like your personal take on that? And where do you think we as a community, not only of real estate investors, but in general, can help uplift what is going on over there?
Well, number one, even though there is a lot of, if you look at worldwide, the oldest civilizations are the ones which are struggling to thrive because they're they're caught in between time and they're living at a different phase of life. And the oldest civilizations are the one which are having a lot of challenges. You look at the Middle East, you look at Egypt. There's so much history. And look at India. There's so much things have happened. If you look at all the temples they built probably a few thousands of years back, and there's so much to learn from
Yeah.
them. And still they're caught between times. And the older the civilizations, the more challenges it has because they're stuck with the focus of something else. Because the reality is, people need to spend more time in terms of how to uplift and how to move forward. But there is so much of corruption which has been there in terms of politics, in terms of money, in terms of people's objective is only how to beat the system, not how to thrive, how to beat the system. And that only will happen over a period of time, because there are different type of people who've been there, and they need to, it has to be recycled, it has to grow out, people need to come up, the new generation of leaders will have to emerge. And that is what will happen, and that is so much embedded into the culture, and people think it is a part of the culture and they blame it on the culture. It's not part of the culture. It is, people need to educate themselves more, people need to think in terms of prosperity, growth, and giving back rather than hoarding money. That's what is happening in all these cases, and they do it to go to the extent of being violent. So I mean, that one person can't change in one day, and it sort of takes time, it takes a long time to change, for that to change.
Especially the corruption part was really maybe off-putting or confusing to me when I first went there, and when I saw how normal it is to kind of just to get common things done, even especially in the real estate space, maybe to
Right.
avoid lawsuits that might keep the development from moving forward. It's like common practice to bribe people in that space. And for someone who comes from Germany, where everything seems rather regulated and there's close to, I've never heard of anybody bribing any officials. I mean, not so much at least. It's like there it's just common practice, and it's like, yeah, that's how you do things.
Yeah, that's how things move out there. I mean, if you don't master that system, you're lost, I think. So that is what happens. So, but yeah, that one is actually basically like, it has to change over time, because I see a lot of new leaders emerging in all these countries, and they're trying to fight it out, but there's a lot of resistance. But it takes some time. But the new leaders, the way they think and the way their dreams, their vision for the country is a lot different than what the older generation is. But it's going to take some time. I think the key is the education and awareness, and having good leaders is the only way things will change.
So I guess now with the kind of mobile development, mobile internet being available even in rural areas, there will be a lot more education available through the internet. So, would you say that will accelerate the whole development? And when you say it will take some time, what's the timeline that you think it will actually take to uplift more rural areas?
Well, the one is technology is already catching up with most of these countries. Like the technology in terms of mobile payments, in terms of how the technology is used, like it's already it's pretty advanced, because every time I talk to someone in India, nobody carries cash there. The cashless payments is pretty common, and most of their people are getting extremely creative in terms of how technology is used.
Yeah.
And if one has traveled to India and any other parts of the world, they would see how different the systems are, and why the technologies. What is so great about technology getting down to the grassroots level is only when you travel there you will realize how people are using technology far more in their daily life, in their day-to-day life. Most of the businesses work differently in India and other countries, and where people earlier used to use only mode of payment was only cash, and then the debit card came, and now it is all everything on the phone. There's no nobody carries cash out there. So things are happening, and how long it's going to take is just a matter of time, because from the politics, from the leaders also, I've been seeing a lot of new leaders emerging. The way they're collaborating with the rest of the world is changing. Everything is changing, but the resistance from the older generation is so much, then they just keep pushing them down. It's going to take some time, but not without a fight, and it's going to take a lot of resistance.
Would you say that young people, just like you left your homeland and I left my homeland to come to the United States, still strive to maybe go overseas, or that younger Indians now want to stay back and kind of uplift the country at home rather than going overseas and maybe making their own journey in a different place in the world?
Well, it's a combination of both, because one is, even if I can financially support a lot of this causes, want to make sure that everybody gets uplifted. That is number one, and a lot of people. who came here to do their masters, to do their PhDs, or furthering their to get some additional education. And a lot of my friends have gone back because they didn't. They came here for education. They had no intentions of staying back. They had no intentions of working. So their objective was to come here, get masters or get PhD, go back, and then work. And so that is what they're doing. There are a lot of people doing that, and so that way they're very much aware of what is going on in the rest of the world. And once they go back, they're implementing new systems. They're sort of upsetting the old systems, and so that way the new systems have been implemented in terms of infrastructure, technology, and how the business is done, and a lot many ways. It is a combination of both.
So, touching up on the D in your acronym, the Ford, what are the dreams not only for your real estate portfolio and your real estate efforts in the close future, but also for your personal actions besides running another 6 half marathons? Like, where are you taking it in the next maybe 5 years or so?
So my dream from the personal point of view is I want to support three non-profit organizations in terms of not just time, in terms of financially. I should be able to raise funds for them at any short duration. That is number one. And I also want to be spending about 15 hours of non-profit towards non-profit every week towards that. And I can only achieve all that only if I'm stable enough.
Yeah.
And that is my dream. And also I should be able to work from anywhere more in terms of location. I want to continue what I'm doing, and I have no intentions of retiring because I love what I'm doing now. And if I could work from anywhere, then I don't see a point. What is the big deal in just sitting at home and doing nothing?
Yeah.
and and my dream is to, and that is my dream. And of course, my daughter is 13 years old now, and she's going to be 18. And by the time she does a college, and then she has to, I'm trying to teach her real estate. She's also excited, and it is up to her what she wants to do. So my dream is basically to support a few nonprofit organizations, travel a little more, and work from wherever I am. And I need to support my wife because she's been, as a doctor, she's been working very hard, and I want to make sure that she takes a step back and spends more time with us. And so that's my dream right now.
I mean, that sounds very, very worthwhile. Thank you for sharing. I
Right,
think
right,
there we have a common thread again, because for me it's all about, where we can be with who we can be and what we can support. And again, I think it's also a thing in the multifamily real estate space. There's so many people who do this because there's so much giving back opportunity, because it
right.
doesn't, it's not a cutthroat industry. It's a very uh, give and take industry. There's a lot of uplifting and support, and I just really love this about that. It's just beyond just having a tangible asset and impacting the communities of tenants. I feel like there's also a communities of syndicators and landlords and vendors who commonly have a thread of care in it.
Yeah, so at the end of the day, you get more joy by uplifting people. Keeping that money, if it does not travel, if it does not add value to anybody, it is of no use. If you are cooking barbecue in your place, if your guests come over to your place, you don't want to just keep the barbecue there. You want them to enjoy. You want to get that feeling that they're liking what you cooked, and it brings you more satisfaction than just keeping it right there, right?
So, is this everything you've shared with us in the last half an hour? Is this something that came natural to you, or is it something your parents nurtured in you? Where does the kind of reflection come from? Is volunteering something that your parents lived and that's something you picked up by observation, or is that something that you kind of started appreciating in your own journey?
Well, it's a combination of both hands. When I was growing up, we had to draw water from the well, and it's like what you call now as a farmer's carry. People do that as part of your fitness. That people do a farmer's carry. So you had to draw water for every drop of water. So that installed the value of water, why I should not waste water. Because if you're just going to pay $1 and buy water, that's still $1. You need to work hard for it. But there are people who waste that water, but that is their choice. That installed in me that I should not waste water. And then growing up, thank God that we were not poor, but we were not extremely rich. We had to work for everything, and that brought me the value of why food is so important. Because for so many people, your excess food could be the meal for them, and we didn't tend to throw it away. And so that installed that do not waste food, take only what you can eat.
Yeah.
That installed food values. And growing up with a family of 5 siblings and parents, and when I left India, I really felt the need of how much I missed my family and how much I had taken it for granted. And that installed in me that family is extremely important. And no family is the same. And people might say, "Oh, you have a happy family. You have a..." No, every family has its own drama. That is why you call it family, right? So every family has a drama, but it's up to you what role you play in that and how you take it, and that is
Yeah.
what makes it more interesting and exciting. And so that gave me the values of being why family is so important. Because after coming here, I realized, well, I can't buy a family. You can't bring a family because everybody has a different values. Everybody wants to live differently. Everybody's eating habits is different, and everybody's expectations is different. So this is a thing which is developed over a period of time. But when you're all by yourself, and that is when you tend to pay more value to all these things. But never take anything for granted in life, because everything changes in a split second, and whatever has happened so far is an history, and whatever you're thinking you can do tomorrow is just an illusion. Me and you don't know what's going to happen, and the only time what we have is right now, this minute. Because the last 30 minutes me and you were talking, that time is gone. We're not going to get it back anymore, right?
Yeah.
So I tell everybody, including me, do not waste this minute. This is what I have. That's it.
And actually, when the future it arrives as now.
Right. Yeah, that's it. So I mean, me and you would not know what's going to happen this evening. We only go by weather predictions. Even those weather predictions change.
I actually think that's a really interesting thing that Germans are suffering in the world, or even Switzerland in a common thread there too. Is everything is man-made so predictable from the train comes on the dot. When someone from those countries travels to India, they're completely overwhelmed by that nothing is predictable anymore, which is a lot more natural. It's a lot closer to life on Earth, like from a jungle perspective. Life is actually pretty unpredictable, but man has that need to make it predictable and box it and put time into boxes. And like when I first
Right.
went to India, it was just so far out that I was like, wow, this is so far out, that it's like shaking me up again. And like you really look at it with a fresh set of eyes because it's not just different, it's just like completely different,
Completely. Right. Right. I
Yeah,
mean,
I
it's a...
couldn't I couldn't have
Yeah.
imagined what is going on there beforehand.
Right. No, but that is. I'm glad you got to experience the other side of the world, how things are, because that is one thing what uh, me, my wife, and my daughter, we feel is you need to experience going to different parts of the world, the same human beings, how they live, and what their expectations are. And life is not all about you living on your street in a safe environment. It's all about the adventure, what you take little by little every day. And you need to experience it. You need to travel to different places, and you need to go to places which you've never been in the past. Because so that way, there's a lot of unpredictable things happen. I mean, if life is the same, if every day you're eating the same bread for breakfast, it gets boring. You need some flavor to that. You need to do things differently,
There speaks the
right?
Indian. He needs his masala.
Yeah, there you go. I need some extra
That's the
spices.
first thing I usually hear. When people are like, "Oh, but I will miss my food." I'm like, "Don't worry. Like Indians by now have fully established themselves in New York City and all over the country. You will find your
Yeah,
restaurants and your
spices.
your food stores and your communities and
Right, right. Yeah, that's one thing we buy when we travel. So me, my wife, and my daughter, we love traveling all the time, and to the point, we we need to go every 3 months. We need to step out, otherwise we get sort of get irritated with each other. So and that is our biggest expense. What we have is traveling traveling
Nice.
because we put ourselves in that uncomfortable situations, and we've been traveling from the time my daughter was 3 months old, and she's been to more
Wow.
than 10 countries so far, and she's visited half the United States already, and we wouldn't stop traveling.
So, what is one of the places that you enjoyed most? Where should I
Well,
go next?
we went to Jamaica, and this was 2016. We were there for 2 weeks, and I thought probably having this brown skin, I won't get a tan. But after 2 weeks, after running on the beach every day, I came back. I think I was sort of me and my T-shirt at the same color. I think. So it took me. I mean that was a good time we had, and then we went to Greece in 2019 for 2 weeks, and that was a good adventure by itself. I mean, we need to have a little adventure, so I decided to drive in Greece,
Oh,
and
yeah.
driving in Greece was more more like driving in the other parts, some of the other parts of the world where there's no rules, and you just need to pull your window down and scream at people and shout and keep going. So that was an adventure in itself.
But that must feel a little bit like home for you. No, it's like
Yeah,
a little
that
bit
is why I
similar, like you're
decided, okay,
trying to
let me
cross a big
drive.
intersection.
Let me drive, and there's some of these things are totally unpredictable, and that's what makes life a little more exciting and challenging. And getting out of Santorini in Greece,
Yeah,
and
beautiful
that
place too.
airport was probably a really tiny one for such a international place, and that was an adventure in itself in the airport. So, so I mean, we have adventures every place we've traveled.
Yeah,
We have a good time. We just take it as part of the experience. There's nothing to get stressed out about it. The way you deal with the people, the way you deal with. But we love traveling, so we want to blend in with the locals. We don't want to appear like tourists. So when we went to Greece, we found a local bakery, and for 20 euros, we eight of us were able to eat by just going to the bakery, and we just bought some bread from there and just had good breakfast. Just instead of going to the fancy restaurants, we just walk into the
yeah.
bakery and we ate there. And then we spent 2 weeks in Paris, and that was a good adventure in itself also.
You said something very crucial in here. Actually, you touched up on it twice. So, between exciting and challenging, it's very much how you look at it. And you said that basically the journey will throw things at you, but it's kind of just part of it. And I think the same is true for life. It's how we look at it and how we perceive things happening to us. Like it's such an important piece to the puzzle of living a joyful life. It's to not judge everything that's being thrown at us. And what's exciting to one person can seem like a major challenge to someone else, like maybe a, a, a 15-foot wave for an established surfer is exciting, and for me in the water it's probably pretty scary.
Right, right, yeah. I mean, it's a no doubt all the challenges thrown at you are not exciting, or some are really scary, and what really happens is, because most of the time all of us get into a situation thinking that the outcome has to be this way, the outcome has to be this way. So, which means
Expectations.
in before stepping into a restaurant to eat, you are you already have in your mind, you decided, okay, the taste is going to be this way, the taste is going to be this. So if it doesn't match your expectations, you're disappointed. It might be the perfect food, but you're still disappointed. So that is when I tell people, be open to new adventures all the time. I mean, some you have control, but you don't have control 90% of the time. You don't know. You leave 1 hour, you leave for an appointment. Let's say you leave home 1 hour ahead of time, thinking that you're going to be there 20 minutes before your scheduled time. For me, being on time is late. You're already late. You got to be early for an appointment. So on time is late. So So, but things happen. If there is an accident on the road, that's not your fault. So don't get stressed out about it. If it starts raining, is it your fault? No. If your car breaks down, is it your fault? No. You had all the good intentions of leaving home 1 hour ahead of time, but things happen. Things happen. So I see people get stressed out about they not only they're stressed out, they're driving everybody insane, right? The one next to them also. So I think having a be open for some challenges, be open for some unexpected things. We can't solve everything, and that sometimes we got to accept things as they are. We got to tell people, I'm sorry, I can't do it. This is it. And nothing is going to happen, because if I'm here, I need to be 100% present here. I can't say, if I'm taking phone calls, if I'm looking at things and I'm reading at news, I'm looking at my Facebook, how many people have liked me and other things, I'm totally disrespectful to your time. So I need to be 100% wherever I am, no matter what, good or bad. So that is how I look at it. Because we all have
Yeah.
limited time. Your time is limited. You could have done so many other things, but you choose to be here. So I need to thank you for your time ahead of time. Yeah.
Actually, thank you for your time. Usually, one of the last questions I ask, but I feel like the whole last 50 minutes or so, you already kind of boiled it down. Usually, my last question is, what does a life well lived mean to you? But you actually already answered in so many different ways, and you really made a point on that. So, Vish, thank you so much for being so generous with your time and giving us insights into, not only what you do in real estate, but also your personal journey. And where can the audience connect with you?
Well, the audience can look me up on LinkedIn as Vish Muni, Vishmuni. LinkedIn. That'll be the best way for the audience can reach me. If they Google my name, that's a long name, and they can look it up as a Vish Muni also.
Yeah.
And otherwise, the easiest would be vishmuni at gmail.com. As my name at gmail.com.
We'll make sure to add everything to the show notes. So, is there anything else you would like to share with us? A last thought or notice?
Well, life is simple. We complicate it by setting too many expectations, and we just need to let things go. We don't need to take everything personally, and the world doesn't care about me and how I look, what I do. So we pay too much attention and importance to things, thinking that people care about us. No, so we need to live our life. It's only we can be happy for ourselves. Nobody is going to make us happy. So that is how
Mm,
I look at it.
very, very true. Very true.
I
Yeah.
mean, if we
It's
are not, we don't appreciate what we have, no matter what we're going to get, not going to make us any happier.
that's some deep stuff right there. And it's our personal responsibility to make sure we are joyful and happy, and we bring this to the table, and we
Right.
don't expect it from others.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's like how you show up is everything. Because if you're going to a party, it's sick and tired, and if you walk in and tell people, "Oh, I'm so bored, I don't want this," do you think your friends are going to invite you there, or they're going to push you out of the door and close the door? So you need to show up happy. You need to be happy. You need to be fit. So be presentable. So that is all. That's all it's all about.
Right.
Take
I
care of
couldn't agree more.
yourself in the first place.
Yeah. If you go to the party, be part of the party. Don't
Yeah, be
drag it
part
down.
of the party. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you again so much for your time. And yeah, thanks for being so generous with your story and sharing everything or all your knowledge of your life's journey with us.
All right. Thank you, Hens. Thanks for having me on your show.
Thank you for joining us at the Path to Wealth. We hope you enjoyed today's episode. Check out our upcoming guests and be sure to share it with all your friends and family that want to take their life to the next level of wealth.